Hello pioneers, in the last episode of our Satisfactory series, we set up a train line to transport oil products and connected our oil fields to the main base. This episode, we start working with the manufacturer, tackling its complex logistics with a new factory design. To test our patterns, we automate computer production, unlocking new opportunities for advanced automation. Let's get into it. With plastic and rubber and fuel being transported into our main base, it's going to go back to factory design now, so we need to figure out where to start building all our new advanced products. The first advanced product that we need to build is these circuit boards, and they're made in an assembler. Now we have a floor for basic assembling non-space platform related projects over here, but we've pretty much used up our entire assembler line, and there's no more space. So maybe we need to go above once more. The alternative is to go out the other side towards the steel area. So let me just drop an assembler somewhere to see what materials are actually required, and then we can figure out where we're going to build this thing. So the recipe for this thing is pretty straightforward. It's just for circuit boards, it's just 2 copper sheets and 4 plastic. So our copper sheets are being made over there somewhere, so I don't mind making it directly above over there. It kind of makes sense. So let me go and do that. I'm also just going to quickly build our new stairwell pattern. This thing that we built over here, over in our different factory sections, because it's becoming quite onerous to go up and down my factory. So let me just quickly do that. All right, the stairs are in. So now we can figure out where we want to build everything. Now I like the idea of reserving this area directly underneath the space elevator for space elevator components, but I also recognize that with the new manufacturers, we might need higher roofs. I don't think 3 is tall enough for a manufacturer, given it has 4 inputs. So what I'm thinking of doing is moving the space elevator up yet another level. And on this level, we can just do our more complicated assembly components, because our assembler floor is full. So if we were to put some more assemblers over here, we can build our things like circuitry over here. Even though this is now a subcomponent for our space elevator, because it's actually no longer required directly for the space elevator. So I think that makes sense. I'm not 100% sure. We'll have to just try and find out. So let's check out assembler here somewhere. I'm going to figure out again where we're meant to put these. I think that's correct. And that's walkable. But that's not in line with this one. It's up here a bit. So if we put an assembler like this and we start doing circuit boards, that's going to require 15 copper sheets and 30 plastic. We're making 100 plastic, but we don't want to use it all. So maybe we'll have 2 of these. 2 of these will make 15 circuit boards. That makes sense to me. Let's just start with that. All right, we still haven't put lights in our factory, but that'll have to wait till Caterium is ready. So there's our circuit boards. We need to consume 30 of our copper sheets. Let's go down to our copper sheets level and figure out how much copper sheets we're actually making. And we can use our brand new stairwells to do that, instead of jumping off the factory like a crazy person. It would be nice if this stairwell on this level actually linked to the factory. I'm going to build some more floor here. Remember, we've still got this level of the factory to work with as well. There's still some empty space over here. I was going to use it to do like quartz processing, but we'll see. Here's our copper sheets. We've got 4 machines producing copper sheets, and they're producing at 40 at the moment. And they're not being used for anything besides storage. And how many did we want to use again? I forget. 15 per machine, so we need 30 of that 40, which works out perfectly for us. So instead of this going out here and straight into storage, we now need to get rid of this, and then we'll figure out where the copper sheets will be stored later. But it's already being transported out this triple wall hole, and it should be a clear path upwards. That is why I've used this wall hole, but we can go check it out. I'm also thinking about putting a permanent walkway on the side of here, like a glass one maybe. What that would look like would be something like this. Let me think about that for a second. It might actually help with our design process. So if we were to have like an exit out of the middle of our factory, 1, 2, 3, 4, here and here, let's try this design pattern. It'll definitely help with our stuff. So what we'll do is, let me just figure out the wall pattern for this. So it's meant to be a normal wall first, then it's meant to be glass. And we want to use this hex frame window to keep it all aligned. Then it's normal wall again, and then normally it's 2 hex frame windows. Like it's normally a wall of hex frame windows here and here, followed by regular wall, and then more hex frame windows here, and then normal wall. Fantastic. But here we want it to be a doorway out into our our main factory, right? So what we can do is border it with these beams. Now we still haven't figured out in architecture whether there is a frame wall that's just open. Like we want this, but just completely open. Let me just double check the shop again to make sure I'm not missing anything obvious. Will be in architecture if one existed. Structural beam pack, frame pack. Yeah, there's no door frame. That's crazy that there's no door frame. All right, fair enough. So let's get back up to where we were and we'll just continue our pattern for what we were doing with this, which is basically this. We have to like manually make a door frame out of these metal beams. Is essentially what we've been doing. And then we want these beam corners to frame it properly. There we go. That looks okay-ish. I really don't like these beam frames. But anyway, this is where we can start building our floor. And I want to use this glass frame foundation to make it look nice. So we'll do something like that there. And we want to leave this space empty for all this stuff. But then this is going to be like a walkway around our factory. And this is something I've always wanted to build. So something like this, and then we can walk around the outside of our factory and very easily see these holes and stuff that we need to build. Like it's like a little glass catwalk for our factory, and it'll go all the way around our factory. Something like that. And then we can put railings and stuff on later, but this will definitely help us with the alignment of all our various things, and it works sort of like a balcony, right? Okay, cool. So we've got that going. Now we need to get the copper sheets out, which is coming out of here, and we can say 30 is being used for circuit boards. Available is still 10 for storage, so we're still good. We don't need to extend our copper sheets. We just need to bring them up. So they're coming out of the door hole here into this vertical lane, and we can see that very clearly now. And then they just need to go up, not this level, but to this level. So we need to get a central thing over here somewhere, and it follows the same input output pattern. So we can just do that, and then we can just get a conveyor lift up. Just like that. Our copper sheets are now going to the very top. At some point, they're going to need to traverse their way back down for storage purposes, but for now, this is okay. We'll do all the storage later in case copper sheets are then being used for other things. So there we go. That's our first input material for this system. Our second input material is a little bit more complex. It's plastic, and plastic is coming from over there. So we need a channel that gets us from there back home without intercepting anything. So where's the center of our factory? It's basically here, right? So we basically need to go across here. We'll use our new balcony area to do that. Ooh, our balcony area intercepts the power line. That's not good. That's fine. Just don't trip on this power line. We'll just put like a caution sign here somewhere so people don't trip on the power line. But then basically we're going over here. We can do one more, and that takes us to our train stations, which is fantastic. But what this allows us to do, if I think about it, is if we put some underneath conveyor like ceiling lifts, we can bring out our plastic and our rubber into our main factory area in this manner, and it can follow it, and then it'll be down there available for use, and we can split it in all sorts of directions to get it into our factory. I think that's a good idea. I hope it's a good idea. But for now, we just needed to get it up to probably there or something. So let's figure out how we can do that. There's lots of free conveyor hole lifts that we can use, especially since we can convert all these central ones into like triple ones, since we need that vertical space. Let's give that a go and see how that might look. There's no point talking about it. We can only tell if we start doing stuff. So one of these is fuel, and one of these is plastic, and one of these is rubber. That's rubber, that's plastic, and fuel I don't care about right now because I don't know what I want to do with the fuel. Oh my god, we got so much fuel. We're gonna, like, the plastic and the rubber is gonna stop producing very soon because of this stupid fuel thing. I think it's already jammed, but we'll worry about that later. Let's just get the inputs for this working first, and then we'll go declog the plastic in a bit. So if it's coming out here, there it hits the ceiling. I'd love it to be able to Maybe we should get this out one more tile, like here. Because then it can do a nice tight turn straight into the middle. Is that a good idea? No, I don't like that. So let's get the ceiling lifts going, which is this one. Let's just put a mount somewhere like here, because this is where we ultimately want to do it. And then we want one more mount on it, like this. So does this just line up with this? No, that's still too high. But unfortunately, we can't use a lift to do a half turn. So we might as well just do this. Except we want the output, not the input. And then we want this one to go up the top. That should be flush. It can't do it straight. That's why I said, yeah, we need to. But not straight is also fine, I guess. It's like a little bit turned out, but that's fine. Oh, you know what we can do that's clever? We can turn it that way, and then it can be flush, right? Oh, the ceiling thing is so hard to figure out. Ah, there we go. Now it's straight. There we go. Now we've got plastic and rubber, and we can turn that into our main base. In fact, we're creating bridges everywhere now. So let's bring the plastic along the ceiling. And we'll bring the rubber as well, because we know eventually we're going to need the rubber. And yeah, against the ceiling turns perfectly into one of these holes as well. But we don't want to turn it into the hole. We just want to bring it out here somewhere, and then we want to bring it up. So we'll leave the rubber there, because we don't know what the rubber is being used for right now. But with the plastic, we want to do something like this, maybe here. Oh, there's no more space there. All right, let's go up and check that out. And there we can see the plastic is traveling along here from our train station. And from here, oh man, we did that in the wrong spot. Let me fix that. This is very hard to fix from not directly underneath it. I want it all the way at the edge. All right, now that's all the way on the edge, we should be able to, in theory, bring this up. And I hope it follows the right thing. And if we put in another wall hole there, we should be able to bring it up and it clicks against this somehow. We'll have to go up there and find out. So this is the machine we want to bring it into, and this is the hole that it's going to come out of. So if we bring that in to say that one. Oh, I can't build backwards either. Damn it. Wait, it is going the right way. If we do something like that, that gets our two inputs in. Now we just need to connect this to our plastic. Now our plastic is here, and if we bring it up to line up, oh, I can jump onto this conveyor belt now. How convenient. Wow, it keeps kicking me off. Okay. Like around there, I think is the correct height. And we can just join this. And theoretically, that should bring plastic up. And just like that, we've got our first circuit boards going. Once we connect power. Oh, our wall hole things aren't in the power system. Interesting. They're its own separate section. That's annoying. Oh, we'll just use this for number 8, I guess, for building. Now, where is the power? It's here, I think. So in theory, it should go here. Connect that up, and then we'll connect it out. So this one of these wires should be gone. I can't tell which one. Hold on, let me fix the wires. Don't be lazy. Connect it properly. There we go. We still got a few more space for a couple more assemblers along this assembler line. So we can definitely make more of this stuff. So this thing is constructing 15 circuit boards per minute. I have no idea whether that's going to be enough or not. Let's just put a note down that that's what's happening. So let's do our usual. Well, we've figured out a new way to do these notes, which is using these pillars like this. And then we put down a sign. Need some quartz crystal, which isn't a problem. All right, let's check our sign on. And we will make this the right icon, which is the circuit boards. And we'll set the production rate. So it's producing at 7.5 per minute each. So we're making 15. Fantastic. That's the circuit boards done. Now we want to make computers next, because that's one of the intermediaries. We've got 86 circuit boards here. I want to chuck some more plastic. We are manually making some computers just to unlock some stuff in our milestones at the moment, but that's fine. Chuck that in, chuck in some more plastic. We should have plenty of plastic over here, I hope. Yeah, we got heaps of plastic now. Our plastic production would have stopped at some point though, I'm pretty sure, because they're not, we haven't fully properly unclogged everything in our plastic line yet. So We can't rely on the fact that the plastic is producing non-stop. The plastic will have stopped at some point, but we'll go fix that once we start consuming the plastic. But for now, just gonna have to do. We've got 23 computers, we need 50. Now we can set up our first manufacturer, because that's the only thing that we needed, right? Let's just quickly assess the rest of the stuff. All the recipes in the manufacturer. We need to make the heavy modular frames. Don't care about crystal oscillators right now. We can do that anytime. But we need the computer, which is cables and plastic. Then we need the heavy modular frames, which is a bunch of old materials. That one's going to be a bit annoying to figure out where to put this. Then we need to make the modular engine unit. So yeah, there's 4 things that use manufacturers to make. So we definitely need a whole new level to do this. So let's start with something simple like the computer and the heavy modular frame before we start looking into making these 2 more difficult, the things that require like rubber and automated wiring and all that stuff. We should also set up a hypertube that goes up to the roof, I think. That would be a clever thing to do. I mean, it's going to take up an entire vertical lane. Maybe we should do it on the other side where things aren't coming out of. Remember, our vertical lanes don't necessarily need to be on this side of the factory. We can use these 2 walls over here as well. And just think about how to do that, or where makes the most sense to do that. Screw the hypertube. We'll figure it out later. I don't want to use up all my vertical lanes right now doing stuff like the hypertube. But let's get up there. Or we can put a temporary one somewhere, I suppose, to make it a bit faster to get up. Let's just do a temporary one over here. Keep changing my mind. So if we put a hypertube, say like here, that's not enough distance. Let's try here. That actually was okay then. Trying to figure out where it can do the turn. Maybe like here. Is that looking all right? No, that's not enough. It's so awkward. Like here, and then it can go up. Is that centered? Doesn't look centered. Okay, let's go up and see where we can put this. Or how far up we can go. Can go up quite high. Pretty much to the whole roof. So let's see if we can go straight to the roof and just do it from the roof. And connect it from here, and we want it to be like up here. Something like this. Is that centered? Something like that. That looks like a straight hypertube up. Now we can put an entrance down there. Connect that to power and we're sweet. I really need like a power line somewhere because this is just all connecting randomly to this main power thing, which I don't really like. Oh wait, there's a power line right here. Fantastic. That doesn't look good either. Essentially what we want to do is something like this. Get a double wall hole going over like here. Then we can connect this to the wall. Then we can get a double wall hole going out this way. Wow, that's like terrible. And then we can get power going in like this. Nope, not like that. Okay, maybe a single wall outlet aligned to this thing. And then we power it like this. Trying to get some nice looking stuff going so the wires don't intersect randomly everywhere. That's fine. This is a temporary setup anyway. I don't know why I'm paying so much attention to it. But this will allow us to get to the top of our factory really quickly, which is good because we need to get up here a lot. Now we need to move this space elevator once again. So let's dismantle it. And we can get rid of the sinks and all this stuff. Oh no, my bag's full. All right, let me get rid of some stuff and then come back up here. All right, welcome to our new manufacturing floor. I'm gonna deconstruct our old stuff, grab all these stupid crates. I'm gonna get rid of these lifts that are bringing up our old products because we don't know what this is gonna look like now. And this is our new manufacturing floor. So we need to put up some walls now to segregate the different sections, or do we? Do we just want to make this now one giant floor? Because why do we want to separate the different buildings in our manufacturing floor? Because this might be the very top level of our factory. What we essentially want to do is start putting down our manufacturers for computers and modular frames and all those complex stuff. And because we know there's going to be more recipes, let's just go from left to right and start building stuff. So we'll leave some room for the stairway up. We'll start our manufacturers here. Do we need to build this as a blueprint is the question. Let's go do it as a blueprint. And I don't even think I can fit 2 manufacturers as one blueprint. So we're going to do a blueprint to make 1 manufacturer. Can we do 2? If we can do 2, I might do 2. But no, we can definitely not do 2. We need plastic to do this. Might get some stairwells going over here as well. So I can get up to my plastic storage, which is currently just my train station. Is it unloading stuff? Is that why I can't access this? Yeah. You can't access anything when it's like unloading things. Let's grab ourselves some plastic. My bags are always full of rubber. Not that much rubber needed. if any. All right, let's go blueprint ourselves a manufacturer. We might as well center it, why not? So hard to see where the main lines are in this. These solid lines. So this is the center. Bring it back one more. Yeah, look how big this thing is. This thing's absolutely massive. So we need to figure out how to do 4 inputs. That's a pattern that we don't know yet. But we do 1 on this level, 1 on this level, then 1, 2, 3 up. In fact, why don't we do this? Why don't we alternate it? 1, 2, 3 up. Then we do these two flipped this way. 1, 2, 3 up. Wouldn't that be a clean way to do it? And I don't think I've done this correctly. Let me just put my walls and ceilings in. We're going to need it eventually anyway. Oh, can't even get across this side. Oh, it is hitting the roof. Okay, that is correct. I'm getting more intuitive with building now. So we need splitters here. No, wait. Is it a splitter? Yeah, it is a splitter. So the input comes in this direction. All the inputs come in this direction. We don't need to link any of the splitters up because they'll be linked to the next manufacturer, which I don't have a blueprint big enough to do that. But at least I can get this stuff blueprinted. And then we've got 1 output. Now we're using the second floor already for... we're using the second floor already for inputting. So let's not mix the output with the input. Let's just put the splitter right here. Or the merger, sorry. Following our other design principles, whatever we're merging will come back down this way. So I'm going to go with this design. That way we're using the second and the third level for inputting, and we're using the first level for outputting. And yes, it's going to get in the way of our walking, but so be it. Or do we not want to do this? Yeah, I don't think I like things being in the way of my walking. So what we're going to do is we're going to do similar thing, but we're going to raise it all 1 level. So our manufacturing floor is going to be 4 stories high instead of 3 stories high. Then if we really want to hide the belt, we can use the idea of a subfloor, but I'm not going to do that. I don't mind, like, I feel like for simplicity of building, not using the subfloor is actually easier. Wait, we want to keep those, get rid of this one. We want to put some roofs on. Then we want this to hit the roof. So it should be like 1, 2, 1, 2. Why is the roof so high? Hold on. I think I deleted the wrong ones, didn't I? I'm so confused. Wait, 1 second. Let me do this properly because this is a blueprint. And if I screw this up, then it's going to be screwed up forever. This is the 3rd floor. 3, 4, 5. 4. Okay, so this is the 3rd floor. This lines up with the 3rd level's conveyor holes. So we want 1 facing that way and then 1 facing that way. Then we can get rid of the 3rd floor. Then we want these conveyor lifts to hit the 4th floor, which is here. We want 1 facing this way and 1 facing this way. Now we can get our splitters in like that, there, and there. And theoretically, if we have stuff coming out of the wall hole, they can come into these splitters and they shouldn't intersect with each other as hard as they used to. And we should be able to very clearly see where everything's going. It's very hard to tell when I don't have another one to connect it to, but I'm going to have faith that this works. And now we can get this output here. It has to output to itself because, or out this way because, yeah, it doesn't, well, we can't face it into itself. If we face it into itself, it's going to come out of itself, right? Oh, actually, it's okay. I don't mind this, to be honest. Yeah, it doesn't clip the belt into itself, and that way it saves space too. It clips into itself a little bit, but I'm actually okay with that. Okay, this will be it then. Let's get power in. And we want it to directly go up into the ceiling. If we can get it directly into the center of a ceiling, that would be fantastic. That's awesome. All right, let's get rid of the crap, and then we'll save this blueprint as our first manufacturer blueprint, version 1.0. We'll see how that works out for us in reality. It could be a complete fail, but we will see very soon. Call this the manufacturer, give it its icon, and we'll save the blueprint. Now I'm going to organize my blueprint sections a little bit because this stuff is all under undefined. So let me add in another section. We'll call it production. Oops, I always do this because it looks like it's highlighted, but it's not. Call this production, and we'll drag our production stuff down here. There we go. Nice and organized. Now on our blueprints bar, we can put the production thing over here. We only have to select one of them. So we can do like something like that. And then in theory, if we just select this blueprint, we can go E and then access all our other relevant blueprints. All right, let's go up to our new floor and put down one of these manufacturers and see how that might look. So we want to reserve this row for free space, and we obviously want to reserve this row for free space. So this is the corner that we started at. So there's our blueprint. Let's hologram it down. We want to give a little bit of free space over here for railings and whatnot. And then we want to shift it a little bit over this way, and that works out well. Oh, we're missing a... No, wait, no, it's fine. Yep, that's pretty much what we want. And then we want this to produce computers, and we can use the computers to test if it works. So one of these produces 2.5 computers per minute. So let me figure out if I have all of the input and output to do all this. Now, 5 refineries that are making plastic are making it at 100. So let me put down a little sign that tells me that. So we're producing 100, and in theory, our train should be keeping up with that. A lot of that is already being used for the canisters and stuff, but I'm not going to account for that right now. What I do need to account for is these 2 assemblers that are using up 60 of our plastic. That's a lot. So we have 40 left to play with. And in fact, the computer recipe uses up exactly 40. So we have available 0. But that's not going to be a problem very soon, because if we look at these computers being produced, if we give it some more cable, once it produces 50, we can double the throughput of plastic. It's not a problem, but we just want to log down how much are being used. We're just going to build to 1 at the moment, and then we'll deal with it later. So at the moment, the plastic is coming up through here, and it's being used by this thing. So we got to split it somewhere up there. The plastic is being brought over here and into there. So we need to put a splitter like over here somewhere. It's kind of in line over here, so we'll do it in line over here. I'll add a cable. All right, split up, something like that. I think that's in line with that hole. Yep, that seems to be fine. So we want one channel going in that way, and then the other channel can just kind of go straight out this hole again, and then it can go up. So wasted this entire lane, but that's fine. So we need to start making like roofs and stuff over there. Can't do anything without the roof, so it's about time we start building a roof. Let me just quickly go and do that. Let's put out our borders. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You remove that until we get a hypertube wall hole or something in there. And then we need to get our stairwell going back up now to get up to the very roof. All right, here's our stairway up to the roof. Now we got to get some scaffolding and put down our actual roof. All right, we'll get the floor 4x4s going. We're gonna align this to here somehow. Oh, just like that. And then we'll get an entire roof going all the way out that side. Open this hole for our catwalk stairs. Get rid of this section so we don't confuse ourselves. And that's pretty much it. So just cleaning up the stairs section. Great. Now we can get our actual 4x4 blueprint roof all the way to the other side. And just like that, we've created a whole new floor for our factory. And this is what I mean about building your factory in an extensible fashion, such that when you do have new things to add, you don't need to rebuild an entire factory now to make computers. We can just extend upon our existing factory and just up all the throughputs of everything. Remember, we have Mark IV belts as well. So for example, if we need more iron or whatever, we can now upgrade to Mark IV very, very easily. We just need to find more iron, more copper, more coal and whatnot to up all our throughput. And we don't need to actually rebuild any factory sections. All we need to do is potentially rebuild a couple, like add on to our arrays of machines out southward to increase the volume of certain things we need to increase the volume of. But like that, we've got our roof on. Now we can go over here and check out where we need to actually build stuff. Now I also want to build another catwalk out here as well for walking. Same as this catwalk, but just a little bit higher so that we can very easily do the scaffolding and stuff. So bear with me for a second. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the end of our factory section over here. I might just build something here to denote that that is like kind of a factory section. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the center point. This is where we want to build out our balcony. So just getting used to my new toolbars. So we want something like this. And then we have an actual balcony that we can use to help with dealing with all these like holes and stuff so we can build from the side. All right, anyway, with all that done, where is our plastic? Our plastic is right here. We need to bring it up. So we need a triple wall hole right here. And that brings plastic in. Let's get a lift. That should get plastic up to the right level. And there's plastic, our first of 3 products. Next, we need to deal with cable and circuit boards. Circuit boards is easy, so let's do circuit boards first because they're being produced right here. We just haven't got them out yet. So they come out on the second level somewhere, and we need a vertical lane that's free to go up, which is pretty much this lane. So let's get circuit boards out here. We need another conveyor wall hole here, and then we need more lifts. So that's going to go here. We can do straight build mode. And with circuit boards here, we can lift that up and over like this. And I believe that should just follow this perfectly if I build this to the right height. And there's 2 products in the holes, so we need just cables now. Now we want to write down on our circuit boards what we're using. So we're producing 15 and 10 of which are being used for computers. So we got 5 left. Be very organized with all this stuff because we're about to do a lot more production. Next, our final component is 20 cables. So just got to figure out where cables are being produced. And I believe they're being produced around here somewhere, over here. We're producing 60 and we haven't done any of our notes. So now we need to figure out what they're actually being used for. So they're being produced here and they're coming out into this wall hole, which is being transported up to one place, it seems. Let's follow it up. Very little cable looks like it's being produced. But cable's only being used to make automated wiring. And I think I've only got one machine making automated wiring at the moment. And that's consuming 50 cable per minute. This one's off, right? Yeah. So 50 cable per minute is being used up at the moment and we need more. So if 50 is being used up and we need more, we just need to extend our cable making. And at the moment, it's using up this wire at 30 per minute. So 4 of them is using half a belt of wire. Do we have enough to make more? That's the question. We need to figure out where the wire is coming from now, which is from this side. Doing a little bit of trace back. It's this belt of wire. Let's follow it back and just have a little gander at what's going on. Yeah, so this wire is our secondary wire. And according to this, we have 70 available. So we can make a little bit more. Having a look at why these wire machines are all backed up when I don't have full wire going out. There must be a connection somewhere missing. What is happening here? Like this is not connected to this. There we go. Now we've got the proper amount of wire coming out, I think. And then it gets jammed. What is happening? What is this thing? Oh my god. Little bugs in my factory I'm finding. There we go. Now the wire should come out properly. Alright, now we're producing the right amount of wire. So let me write down what this is being used for. I know some of it is being used for cables just upstairs. It's very important to keep track of all this. So currently we have 4 machines making cables, and that's going to consume 120 wire. Let's write that down. So theoretically we should have 140 left, but 70 of it is being used for something else. Let's figure out what that something else is by tracing it back. This is like tracing bugs in code. So the wire is coming up here and then it's being split, and half of that is being used to make cable. So let's figure out where the other split is going. It's going out this way and then up this thing. So it's being used over here to make something up here. Let's go check out what that something is. Probably stators or something. Oh, that's too high. Yeah, over here, the other wire is being used. How many stator machines do I have? 1, 2, 3. I have 3 stator machines because those 2 are being clocked at 50%. And that will be using up 120 wire. Let's go write that down. And therefore, all we have left is 30 wire left. So we can only make 1 more cable machine. And is 1 more cable machine enough? Or do we have to extend our wires? That's the only question. So if we were to make 1 more cable machine, we would only get another 15 cable. And we have 10 left. And we need another 20 cable. Technically, it's just enough. And then we'll have barely any cable for storage. But we might as well use this as a test to see how easily we can extend our factory's production. What I mean by that is we do have tier 4 stuff. Let's have a look at it. This is inevitable, by the way, so it doesn't matter when we do this. We can do this episode, or we can do this another episode. But if we look at our logistics, we have a Mark IV conveyor belt, right? And they take encased concrete to make, so they're not super hard. Yeah, they just take encased beams. So it's not too hard to make, and they output at 480. So they're once again double, kind of double on top of this. And yes, they've gone back to the normal numbers of 120, 240, and 480. I don't know why they made the Mark III just slightly different. So we can extend it up to 480. Now we have to trace all the way back to our smelters over here where the copper is being smelted. We have 2 belts of copper being smelted at the moment. Well, we don't even have 2 belts of copper. We're not even smelting this full belt of copper yet. But at the moment, we have 1 full belt of our copper. This is making sheets, I think. This smelting array that's smelting 270 copper at the moment is currently being used to split into all the wires that we're making. So why don't we work on doubling this up now? So we can see on our map that over this away, there's a bunch of copper ore. So I'm going to go over there, grab it, and bring in a full Mark IV belt of copper ore into our base. I'll be back when that's done. Before I go, I've got exactly 50 computers, so I'm going to go and unlock what I wanted to unlock before, which was the rail signaling. Give Ada something to do.
Milestone reached. Train signals placed on train rails can control and improve train behavior. This helps to avoid events where multiple trains attempt to occupy the same physical location. For information related to earlier train events, please refer to your employee non-disclosure agreement.
I will definitely do that, Ada. I will check out my non-disclosure agreement and I'll get back to you. Anyway, we can dismantle all this stuff for our temporary computer setup in lieu of our actual computer setup. Get rid of all these extra manufacturers that we were testing with. Power pole is also useless. And off we go to go hunt down our copper. I built myself a lot of shadow rebar in case I have to contend with the local wildlife and negotiate for all the stuff that I need. So we will go out into the wilderness and figure out where that copper is. Oops, scan for the wrong material. But I believe it's over here somewhere where I saw it, just down there. It's not even that far away, honestly. We can probably use our existing road infrastructure to figure out where that is. It's like really low down. Let me go down here and just have a look at where the copper is. It's probably like just right here, isn't it? So it's not really far away. I think we'll just belt it back to base, but we'll belt it back to base in a good way. Yeah, it's over here where all this stuff was, all the mycelia. And again, there's local wildlife here trying to kill me. Wow, one shot to the head just killed this thing. Hello, come here. Oh man, I love this shadow rebar. It's excellent. So 1, 2, 3. Are these all normal purity? Normal, normal, normal. And there should be 4, right? Or am I going crazy? Didn't it say there's 4? 3 would be super annoying because then I have to power them up a little. 1, 2, 3. What? My map shows 4. No? Okay, 3. 3 it is. So we'll set up the infrastructure to do this over here, and then I'll be back to talk about it. But essentially, we're targeting a Mark IV belt worth of copper, which is 480, I believe. So here's our 3 miners down. Let's get the well, we don't need Mark IV belts to get them into here because these are only outputting 120. 3 of them is not enough. So I need to get some power slugs into these, which won't be a problem, but let me just think about it. We need Mark III belts to get them in. So we'll get Mark III belts going. 1, 2, and 3. And then we can get that up and out back to base like that somehow. But now we need to get power and all that other stuff. So I'm going to hook all that up and then we'll come talk about what's going on. And here it is, our very first Mark IV belt coming out here. Now we need to bring this all the way back to base somehow. We'll figure it out. How do you turn this vertically so it doesn't do this weird turn thing it does? I have no idea. I know I've seen people like tilt things vertically. Maybe you can't do it with belts. Is it Control, Shift, Alt? Whatever. But yeah, this should get our Mark IV stuff out. So we need to get power to all this. We'll worry about the power infrastructure in a bit. We might just use a big power tower to get the power over here. But let's try to get a belt back home. So let me figure out a path. We don't need this weird path anymore. It's completely misaligned to the world grid. We basically want to get it up to this cliff, and then we want to turn it around this cliff. And then we want to go up. And from up here, do we want a clean path back to base? Or do we just want to belt it back to base however which way? Just trying to figure out where it's going to go. We need to get it to copper smelting over there. So from this point, we can just belt it in, however, I reckon. But let's cleanly get it to this point and then we'll figure it out because there's going to be other inputs. And when all the other inputs are all together, then I'll figure out a nice clean way to get everything back to base. But for now, we're not going to bother with that infrastructure. We'll get our Mark IV conveyors, bring it all the way up. Luckily, it doesn't use too much encased concrete. The Mark IV conveyor belt is so thick. Get our Mark IV conveyor lift to get this up now. And we're finally out of encased beams, so we'll go back and get some more. I have no way to get up to my base from this side. Might build a ladder of some sort. Wow, it actually lets me build a ladder up there. It kind of lets me build a ladder up there. I have to use my jetpack a little bit. Build this structurally sound ladder to get back to our base and go get some more encased beams. Alright, now I'm just going to belt this back to base and we'll up the smelters and I'll come talk about it when it's all done. Alright, I've got my mines powered up now, so we're bringing power directly down from above it. This is the path over to the quartz, so since we have a power tower here, we might as well utilize it. It's just going directly vertically down to create a big power pole here, and then we're just bringing in the power. Now this is not actually producing enough to saturate a Mark IV belt, so we do need to up the production a little bit. So we'll take this up to 150%, so that's producing 180. We'll take this one up to 150%, that's producing 180, that's 360, and 360 plus 120 is 480, which should be the Mark IV belt worth of copper. And that's it, we've got our first Mark IV belt of copper going back to our base, so let's go home and check that out. I've also just built up like random foundations and stuff now, just to make things look a bit more structured, instead of things just hanging around in midair. But that's a big project that we're gonna have to work on the aesthetics of later. I don't know our final infrastructure for this stuff yet, whether we're gonna get other logistic solutions other than belts later on and things like that. So I don't want to commit too much effort into making everything look nice. As long as it all looks kind of decent and is functional, I'm okay with that. So here's our Mark IV belt. We're just tracing it back to our base, and I've already hooked it into the smelters. So we do need to increase our smelters by doubling it up now. I'm just following it back to base to make sure there's nothing wrong with the belt. We've got to double check all our work, right? So it's going into the array of smelters that used to have a Mark III belt going into it. And you can see the Mark IV belt is like clogging up because we don't have enough smelters to smelt all this crap. So here's the input for our smelting array. We just need to go and double it up now. We have currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And these two are overclocked. Wait, were these even overclocked? I never even overclocked those. So we weren't, wait, that's the limestone. What am I doing? Am I looking at the right thing? I did put it into the right thing, right? Hold on one second. Did I put it into my limestone belt? No, this is the copper belt. Yeah, that's fine. I thought I put it into my limestone belt for a second. But anyway, what I was saying is that this is the copper belt and this machine should be overclocked. I don't know if it is actually overclocked to make a full Mark III belt. It's not. That's fine. So we need to get this thing doubled up and producing a full Mark IV belt worth of copper ingot. I don't even know why my current Mark III belt isn't being used, but it will be very soon. So we're going to have to extend out our infrastructure this way. And I'm going to just do that. So double this up, and then we should have a full Mark IV belt of copper ingot. I'll come back and talk about it when that's done. All right, with that, my copper is done. So we can update our text. So it's producing now 480 of these, and we're using all of it to make copper wire with availability of 0. Well, we're going to be anyway, so might as well just write that. Now we just need to connect the power and we're done. So my blueprint is reasonably successful, and I think a couple of episodes ago when we decided to completely redesign this factory for this exact purpose of upgrading to a higher tier of belt, I think it is working perfectly and exactly the way we expect it to. And upgrading it was relatively painless, right? I just need to extend my factory out that way and double up the amount of machinery, which is exactly what I wanted to do. Now we can go up a level and we can look at what it's being used for. So all of this ingot and Mark IV, I've upgraded this lift, is coming out here into this splitter. So we need to upgrade some stuff over here. For example, this thing. And now this thing is going to split it into 2 Mark III belts of copper ingot. So we don't need to upgrade any of this stuff. And this is now going to eat all of that copper ingot and produce copper wire. So we can eat an entire Mark III belt now, and that is, well, not a Mark, like a half Mark IV belt, and that's 30 per minute. So 4 is 120, 8 is 240. Sorry, that's 240 production, but we need double the machines to consume 240 because it's 1 to 2, right? So now we need to extend these constructors out by double as well. So I'm going to do all that and I'll come back and talk about it when it's done. And it should be nice and easy and painless to do. All right, and just like that, I now have doubled up our copper wire constructors. Look at this crazy monstrosity. It's going all the way out the side of the south side of my factory to create an entire Mark IV belt worth of copper wire. It's got to make sure these things aren't actually overclocked. We don't need to overclock them anymore because we've gone back to normal numbers. Fantastic. Now, with all of that being constructed, what we need to do is update these things to tell me what's left. So instead of 270, I'm now getting 480, and 480 minus 240 means I have 240 left into this belt. And this side is also producing 480, and I don't know what it's being used for at the moment. But if we want to increase this by, well, it was 45. Yeah, I have no idea what this is being used for at the moment, so I'm not gonna. This is why the notation that I'm doing here is so important, so we know exactly what's available. So now we have 240 copper wire available on this belt. We've got to make sure that everything connected to this thing is actually Mark IV. So I'm going to trace it through one more time. So that is now a Mark IV belt, and it's going into here, and then this needs to be Mark IV, and then it can be split into Mark III belts. I don't care, because where it's being split over here, let's just double check. It was Mark III, so it can still be Mark III, but we do have an extra bit left, a Mark III belt worth left, I believe, out of this whole system. So we can pull it out and use it for whatever we like now, which is, well, what we can do is we can split it again, essentially. If we upgrade, say, this part of the belt to Mark IV, and then this thing to Mark IV, then we can bring up even more wherever this is going, which is currently being used to make automated wiring, but we can split it off again here at the automated wiring to then bring it up one more time to make what we actually need to make, which was the computer parts. No, wait, that's not right. What am I talking about? All of that was to say, what am I doing? I've completely confused myself. Ignore me. All of that was to increase our cable production. Oh God, I've gone insane. So let's trace that through again. So our cables are being, well, our things are being made into cables here, and we didn't have enough left over. So where this was being split, we've upgraded this to Mark IV, right? Where this is being split into cables is not enough. So currently it's using 120. We need it to use 240. So we just need to ensure that this is a Mark III belt at least. And now we should be able to double up our cable production. That's the whole goal of this whole thing. God, going insane. Too much maths for me. I know I'm a data engineer, but sometimes the maths just gets a little bit too intense. I need to get some more iron plate, sorry. Might as well just grab it straight from these machines, right? It's become a lot easier to traverse my factory now, so I'm pretty happy with that. Now we can go up to where cables are being made. I believe it's on this floor. This side is screws, the other side is cables. And we can double up these constructors very easily. Why do you hate me? Because you're out of reinforced iron plate. All right, let me set that up and I'll be back to talk about it. So yeah, super easy extensibility. Just like that, we're bringing in all the copper wires and we've just doubled up our copper cable production. Is it copper cable or just regular cable? They don't look copper anymore because they're black. But yeah, just like that, we've doubled up our cable production, and that cable should be now traveling out. And because cables are slow, they don't need to be on some crazy Mark belt. And now we can use our cables. So we've got 8 of these machines producing cable at 15 per minute each. So that means we have now 120 at our disposal, 50 of which are being used for automated wiring. And now suddenly we have 70 spare cable, which is exactly what we needed to do our computers. So our cables are now coming out this way. They're going up to make automated wiring. Let's follow it up. Not on this level, but on the next level. And where it's going into automated wiring, it needs to split off and go up even further. Let's see if that is a free lane. It is indeed. We need to go up even further to then make our stuff over here. So I'm going to go and set that up and I'll be right back. I think I'm going to do this on the second level because we've already got, well, the third level. We've already got 2 items coming out on the 4th level. So that'll go into that one, and we need one to go into there. So that's going to be on the 3rd level. got a plan. Let's execute upon it. There's the cables. It's going to come in here. It's coming out of this 2 door hole thing. So it's about there. We're going to put some splitters over here. That will do. I know I can just build the splitter on here, but I don't really want to do that. Now that should be a straight line in. I'm just using Mark IV belts now because I'm lazy. But this doesn't need to be a Mark IV belt. It can be a Mark III belt. We won't use Mark IV belts where they're not necessary, so I don't burn through all my encased concrete. Actually, we're going to do something a little bit dodgy. Which is that. That's going to do that little clipping because I want this to go out the hole. So there we go. We've got now a cable feed over here. Now, I don't want this to be a double hole because I know there's going to be way more complicated stuff to build later. So we're going to turn everything into a triple hole, actually. Because let's not mess with things. We just know that everything's going to be more complicated later, right? So we're going to use as much vertical lane to get up as possible. So we need to get a thing here and then a triple hole beneath it. Then we pass the cables up into there. And there we go. Just like that, we have all of our inputs for this. We just need to bring it over. So we're going to use our ceiling holes to help us out, I guess. Or do we need ceiling holes to help us out? I want to try something new because I feel like we need a better infrastructure to deal with all the cable mess. What I mean by that is let's try something like this. If I put a ceiling mount, say here, because each section of thing has 2 sections, if that makes sense. That probably made no sense to you. But basically what I mean by that is each floor has 2 sections, right? So you can do like a lift on this level, like that, and then you can do a lift above it, like that. And that makes a sort of 1 level. And that's the same thing and we should utilize all of that to do our belting instead of doing crazy clipping. So in theory, I should be able to do something like this, and that should be able to go underneath like that. And then I've got 2 clean belts that aren't intersecting each other going out this way, and I should be able to get them into the actual conveyor lifts. So the conveyor lifts are here. We probably want to do our ceiling thing here, and then there, and then there, and that's like a lot cleaner. And then I don't have to do like a subfloor to hide all the mess of my cables, right? Of all my belts, sorry. Something like that. I mean, it still clips a little bit here because it's going directly above itself. But I think that's a lot better than whatever the heck it was doing. Either that, or what we should do is something probably a little bit better than that, which is putting a ceiling thing here, and then just belting it right next to it. Because we already know all of these things are going to take 4 inputs each, and it's just going to get messy. You just know it's going to get messy, right? Then we've got this second one, which we can belt directly beneath this. So we can just grab one of these and then go 1, 2. And that should go nicely there. Nope, don't want that. I do want that. I just want it on the right one. This one. And then that should just go neatly into one of these inputs. And it's it's going to get messy because you just know. Like, ideally, we should probably have put this machine over here so we don't have to belt all this across over there. That's probably a smarter thing to do. Let's align some of this stuff then. So let's see how far 2 manufacturers can be spaced on our manufacturing floor. We want to leave some space here, so let's do it there. And if we do it there, how many tiles a sec? 1, 2, 3, 4. It takes kind of like 4 tiles-ish. So if we space it based on those 4 tiles, I don't know. Yeah, I think this is okay. Why is this spaced into halfway through a tile? Like that. Is that how this is done? It's very different. I feel like we should conserve as much space as possible and not try to line this up with our factory zones, because it's not going to line up with our factory zones anyway. So we might as well try to get this as space conserving as possible so that we can fit lots of manufacturers across here. So say we do one here and we're out of modular frames. So let me go get some. All right, so say we add more manufacturers over here with the minimal amount of space in between here and here, maybe a little bit more. How much space? How do I know how much space I've left in between here and here? We just have to like visually eyeball it. Is that the same as that? I've left 1 full gap worth of space, but I don't know what 1 full gap looks like. Like that? That looks like too much. I can't use the floor as alignment. We're just going to have to eyeball it. And if it doesn't perfectly align, then it doesn't perfectly align. I want to leave this much space. Maybe if I put it in a box, I can figure out how many tiles of space I'm actually leaving. So from here, it's it's 8. It's 8 tiles of space in between each one, which is that too much? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that's too much. I think 8 is too much. Let me get rid of this then. Gotta get the design pattern of this right. One is like the minimum. 2, 3, 4. I think 4 is okay. I don't need to leave 8 tiles of space, and that way maybe we can fit a good amount of manufacturers in. Let's have a look if that theory holds. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, that one's too much this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we can fit maybe one more over here. Yeah, that's perfect. We're out of cable. The cable's not a problem. We in fact have cable right here. It's going to get in the way of the stairwell a little bit, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, and that is perfect because there's the stairwell that comes up. Amazing. I like it. Okay. We're going to go with this design then. So this is all the manufacturers that we can fit in this space. And now we can pick which ones make what. So given that these three's belt is like coming out like this crazy nonsense, we should probably just make our computer manufacturer not here. So let's get rid of these belts. Oh man, let's just get rid of this entire thing because it's all loaded up with random nonsense. It was a good concept though. We learned something about ceiling mounts and belt weaving and stuff like that. So it's not a complete waste of time. As I say that to try to convince myself me playing this game and trying to be meticulous with my builds is not a complete waste of my time. All right, let's dismantle all that. Let's put the thing back over here so we know where it's meant to go. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. And that should be perfect. Now we can pick one of these machines. Let me get rid of these railings that are meant to tell me. Well, I'm going to keep these railings that tell me where the end of a bit is. But if there's 2 inputs here, the closest one is this one. So one of them should go here. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot more sense. So we can do, for example, this one into this one. Oh, this is the further away one. Then this one can go into this one. Not that one. Like that. And so far, nothing's intersecting. But we can edit these belts if they do start intersecting, and that can go there. And then we can change this recipe to make computer. Now, if we just hook up the power over here somewhere. Now I got to do the power infrastructure for all this, so I might as well just set it up because we know eventually all this needs to have power. So let me just set all that up. And now with my new walkway, it's actually really easy to hook this power up from the outside as well. Before this was a nightmare to do. So yeah, this little balcony walkway thing, definitely a great idea. I recommend you guys do this. It's like I'm teaching you guys how to play, but I have no idea what I'm doing myself. Don't listen to me. I have no idea what I'm doing. That's my tip. What is happening? Why can't I connect this to this? There you go. And now that has power. And we are making our very first computers automatically, straight from our imported plastic, our doubled up copper, our new circuit board assemblers, and we're making our first manufactured product, the computer. Now we can look at where we want to make our other stuff and what we want to make. Obviously, next is the heavy modular frame in one of these. And then we can make like well, we only need 2 more for now, adaptive control unit and the modular engine. And then we can send that stuff up to our space elevator to unlock the next 2 tiers. But I think this is a good stopping point for this episode. We've done a lot of work, so we're going to leave it here for now. And we will work on the space elevator components next episode. But we finally have computers. Fantastic. Next episode, we'll work on the heavy modular frames and our 2 space elevator components. We'll reset up our space elevator on the roof again. And then from there, we should be able to unlock the next few tiers of tech and we can see what other juicy stuff awaits us. I know we still haven't gone and gotten our Caterium and stuff back from our thing, but I promise I plan to do that at some point. But I want to get the space elevator stuff going while I'm building roads out into the world to get my coal and stuff like that, because that's going to be a whole project in itself. We're going to have to build a new road to coal all the way out there to get coal and Caterium into a train system, bring that back, and maybe grab some sulfur along the way, because I know our sulfur was like over there somewhere, right? And then we can make bullets, and we can make Caterium wire and all the new Caterium components and all the alternative recipes. A lot of good stuff is coming. So if you don't want to miss out on that, don't forget to leave a like and sub, and I will see you all in the next video.